Wade was officially off the grid. After the ectoplasmic headache that was Casper and the subsequent legal fees for accidental castle demolition, Wade had traded his English estate for a $40 nylon tent and a patch of dirt in the Carpathian Mountains. "Look at me, world," Wade whispered to his tablet's front-facing camera. "I'm glamping, except without the glam. It's just ing. I'm inging in the woods. Rent is $0, the neighbors are mostly bears who don't judge my hygiene, and Bran Castle is right there if I ever need to steal some historical toilet paper." He was currently huddled in a sleeping bag that smelled vaguely of old ham, watching a 4K unboxing of a limited edition Hello Kitty air fryer. The piece was sublime. No bat debt, no ghost roommates, just the rustle of leaves and the distant howl of a scream tore through the night. It sounded like a choir of banshees getting their toes stepped on. It was high-pitched, ancient, and definitely not a bear. Wade didn't even look up from his screen. "Nope, not doing it. Last time I followed a scream, I ended up in a puzzle dimension with a guy who had a pincushion for a face. This is a mind-your-own-business zone." He shoved foam earplugs into his mask and drifted back to sleep, dreaming of chimichanga-flavored marshmallows. The next morning was blissfully normal. Wade made a simple breakfast of instant coffee mixed with a crushed protein bar and a handful of gummy worms. He spent the day practicing his European accent, which sounded mostly like a bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, and sharpening his katanas with a river stone. As the sun dipped below the jagged peaks, painting the sky the color of a fresh bruise, Wade retreated to his tent. He was halfway through a video titled 10 Delicious Ways to Cook a Bat, purely for research, of course, when the air in the tent turned ice cold. He felt it before he saw it. A shadow was cast against the thin nylon wall. Long, spindly fingers, a high-collared silhouette. Someone was standing exactly 6 inches from his tent, unmoving, just watching. "Okay, look," Wade growled, reaching for his thigh holsters. "If you're a local scout looking for a merit badge in stalking the weirdo, you've got 10 seconds to vanish before I turn you into a human Swiss cheese." The shadow didn't move. Wade exploded out of the tent, katanas drawn, a war cry on his lips. "Surprise, you creepy peeping!" He stopped. Standing in the moonlight was a man who looked like he had been rejected from a 1930s opera house. Pale skin, slicked back hair, and a cape that cost more than Wade's entire life. "Stephen?" Wade squinted. "Now wait, Count Dracula? Is that you? I loved your cereal, man. A bit too much sugar for my current diet, but the marshmallows were top tier." "I am Vladislas Dracul, and you are trespassing upon the soil of my kingdom, jester."
"Kingdom? Buddy, I'm in a tent. This is a public park. Unless you have a permit signed by the Romanian Forestry Service, you're just a guy in a very expensive Halloween costume. Seriously, is that velvet? How do you get the blood out of that? Club soda?" Dracula's eyes glowed a feral, rhythmic red. "You smell of rot, yet your blood pulses with a frantic, unnatural heat. I have watched you. You do not die." "Spoilers," Wade chirped. "I'm like a cockroach with better glutes and a foul mouth. So, what's the plan, Drac? You gonna turn into a bat, sparkle in the sunlight, join a high school drama club, and pine over a girl named Bella?" Dracula didn't answer with words. He vanished in a blur of shadow and reappeared directly in front of Wade. A pale hand clamped around Wade's throat with the strength of a hydraulic press. "I have feasted on kings," Dracula whispered, his fangs extending. "I have broken empires. You are but a flea." "A flea that bites back," Wade quipped. He pulled a compact pistol and pressed it against Dracula's ribs. Bang, bang, bang. The bullets tore through the cape and the Count's chest. Dracula didn't even flinch. He tossed Wade through the air like a rag doll. Wade crashed through 2 pine trees and landed in a heap of broken branches. "Ow," Wade muttered, his neck snapping back into place with a sickening pop. Okay, classic vampire rules. Bullets don't work. Note to self, bring more silver. No, wait, that's werewolves. Or is it both? I can never remember the monster manual lore.
Dracula descended from the air, his cape billowing like a giant bat's wings. Your flesh heals, but your soul is tattered. I shall drain you until there is nothing left but a dry husk to feed the wolves." Wade scrambled to his feet, rummaging through his tactical pouches. Hold on, I prepared for this. I watched all 5 Twilight movies on the flight over, mostly for the cringe, but also for tactical intel." He pulled out a handful of wooden toothpicks. "Check it out, miniature stakes. I'll give you 1,000 tiny splinters." He threw them. Dracula swiped them away with a contemptuous wave. "Actually," Wade said, dodging a strike from Dracula's claws that left deep gouges in a nearby tree, "I've got something better. Legend says vampires hate garlic, right?" He pulled out a spray bottle labeled Wade's Extra Stinky Garlic Breath Freshener. He spritzed it directly into the Count's face. Dracula recoiled, coughing. It reeks of the commoner's filth." "Gotcha, you goth diva." Wade lunged, his katanas glowing in the moonlight. He slashed across Dracula's chest, leaving a trail of black, smoking blood. "Legend also says you can't cross running water. Lucky for me, there's a creek right there." Wade grabbed Dracula by the collar and tackled him into a shallow stream. Dracula screamed as the water touched him, his skin blistering. But the Count was old, older than the trees, and his power was vast. He let out a psychic roar that sent a wave of bats swarming out of the forest, clouding the air and biting at Wade's mask.
The battle moved toward the base of Bran Castle. Dracula was a shadow, a flurry of bats, a freezing mist. Wade was a blur of steel and bad jokes. "You know," Wade shouted, parrying a strike from Dracula as the Count lunged from the freezing mist, "I hear the only way to truly kill you is a stake through the heart or a very public scandal on social media. Since I don't have Twitter, X, whatever, I'll have to go with the wood." Wade saw a fallen fence post sharpened at one end. He dove for it, but Dracula grabbed his leg and slammed him against the stone walls of the castle. "You cannot defeat me in my shadow, mortal," Dracula roared, his face now a monstrous, bat-like mask of fury. "I'm not a mortal, I'm a franchise," Wade yelled. He reached into his belt and pulled out a small, ornate bottle. "Remember that priest I met in London? He gave me this. He said it was holy water, but I'm pretty sure it's just gin. Let's find out." Wade smashed the bottle over his own head, soaking himself. He then grabbed Dracula in a bear hug. The holy water, which turned out to be real, sizzled against Dracula's skin like acid. "Ugh! Blasphemy!" Dracula shrieked. "No, it's called the wet hug of justice," Wade retorted. Using the distraction, he grabbed the sharpened fence post and with a heave of superhuman strength, drove it toward Dracula's chest. Dracula caught the wood inches from his heart. The power struggle was immense. The ground cracked beneath them. "You think a piece of pine can end the king of vampires?" Dracula hissed, his eyes inches from Wade's. "Pine? No," grinned Wade, "but this can." Wade reached up and ripped the high-voltage battery out of his tablet, which he had tucked into his chest plate. He jammed the sparking lithium-ion battery into the wound in Dracula's chest, where the holy water had weakened the skin. "Behold, the power of 4K unboxing videos!" The battery exploded in a shower of blue sparks and chemical fire.
The combination of holy water, wood, and modern electronics was too much for the ancient biology of the Count. Dracula let out one final earth-shaking howl before dissolving into a whirlwind of ash and old leaves.
The sun began to rise over the Romanian mountains. Wade sat on the castle steps, his suit shredded, his mask half gone, and his left arm growing back from the elbow down. Well, Wade sighed, looking at the pile of ash. There goes the neighborhood. Again. I really can't go anywhere without a property manager trying to eat me. He walked back to his tent. It was trashed. His tablet was a melted piece of plastic. His glamping trip was officially over. Note to self, Wade said, looking at the camera. Romania, great scenery, terrible nightlife. Next time, I'm going to Switzerland. I hear they're neutral. Nobody tries to bite you with Zurich, right? He packed up his tattered nylon, picked up a single black feather from Dracula's cape as a souvenir, and started walking toward the nearest train station. Actually, he paused, does Dracula count as a celebrity encounter? Can I write this off on my taxes? As the mountain air grew warm, the legend of the Merc in the woods began to fade, leaving behind only a very confused forest and a castle that finally, for once, was the second scariest thing in the area.